welcome to Food Rebels. This is the podcast that brings you brands, chefs, and live on-air tastings. A show dedicated to the more rebellious side of the food world, where we celebrate the people who have challenged the status quo. You know me, I'm the show host, AJ Sharp, taste expert, food writer, great taste judge. Lots of awards judge actually this year. It's all a bit mad. And a business owner of Sharp PR and Communications, a food and drink PR agency. With me today, we have our producer, Georgie Parsons. Welcome back, Georgie.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
So what are we looking at on the show today?
So today we're actually doing a whole show about gluten-free products, and I thought we'd start about explaining what it actually is to be gluten-free and what gluten actually is. Have you ever been gluten-free? Have you ever done a stint of being gluten-free?
No, not really. But I have a friend who is a celiac. So since becoming friends with this friend, I've become much more aware about how serious celiac disease is. It's a really genuine, life-threatening condition. I really had very little understanding of it before I met her.
Yeah, well, I think there are people who give up gluten because it just doesn't feel right, or they might be having issues, and so therefore for myself, I've had various stages in my life where I've had to give up gluten. And now I actually moderate how much gluten I have in a day. So if I have a piece of toast for breakfast, that will then, I won't have any other gluten for the rest of the day, because I know my body can't take that much gluten at all.
And gluten, just to be clear, is like a protein found in wheat?
So it's found in, the three big products that it's found in is wheat, barley and rye. But it's also in spelt as well. But just to add to the confusion, buckwheat is actually a grain and is gluten-free. So it can be really quite difficult to work out what is and what isn't gluten-free, or what you can actually eat. And then you can get oats which do have gluten in them, and then you can get gluten-free oats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I thought we'd actually just talk about some other places where you might find gluten which you wouldn't have thought about. Soy sauce.
Soy sauce has gluten?
Yeah, has gluten in it.
So when I think of gluten, I think of pasta or bread or cakes or something like that.
It's added to a lot of sauces, and it can actually really catch you out.
Is that to thicken it? Is that why it gets added? Is it a sort of thickening agent, something like that?
I think, yes. I think for some of the more condiments, it actually is.
Like soy sauce, maybe?
So there are some good swaps to make. So you can, coconut aminos is a good alternative to soy sauce, and Soisy, who make not only soy sauce, but they make oyster sauce, don't they?
Oh, and fish sauce. Oh, Soisy. Yeah, I met those guys. They're amazing. They make a soy sauce from seaweed, and it's absolutely delicious. In fact, we were tasting it the other day for a training session I was on. It's absolutely delicious.
So there's quite a few brands now which are doing this coconut aminos, which is this soy alternative, and I actually can't really taste the difference, and so I use that myself. So I don't cook with soy sauce anymore. I only cook with the alternative ones. Again, just trying to get rid of added other different bits of gluten in the diet.
Oh, right. So you're taking this really seriously then?
Well, I've had to. Yeah, I've suffered with different issues over the years, and gluten does actually really kick me off. So
do you know, it's something I've been told by several nutritionists. I should really reduce the amount of gluten I eat. And I sort of go, but that's taking out bread and pasta, and I'm always in a rush, and I'm a food taster, and how would I even go about doing that?
I know, and it does take more time, and that's the thing that I found for the breakfast thing. I do have a gluten-free granola that I make. So, but again, I have to make it. I'm sure there are gluten-free granolas that you can buy, but I'm also sugar-free as well. So I do the sugar, no sugar and no gluten.
Wow.
Same. So I have to make that by myself. And then if I'm cooking a breakfast, then I will do vegetables with actually one of these soy sauce alternatives and stuff in it with an egg. But again, it takes time, and it's not a grab and go. And actually, the amount of times I'm out and I go, I'm at a petrol station or something, it's really difficult to find stuff that is gluten-free.
On the go, I bet.
On the go,
yeah.
Really difficult. Actually, one of the snacks that is kind of my go-to, which is the egg and spinach. Have you seen those? With the boiled egg and the spinach things. But I mean, they're quite bland and dry. It's, but other things...
It's not easy, is it?
It's not. And other things that you think that, you wouldn't think of: barbecue sauce, some salad dressing. So you think, I'll just grab a salad. And then the salad dressing will have gluten in it. Stock cubes, malt vinegar. English mustard has some, wheat flour in it. So it is quite a minefield out there. And then also drinks, beer. I mean,
Yes,
silly,
of
but
course.
of course it's
Yeah.
made with barley.
Yeah.
And then it's same like malted drinks like Ovaltine or fruit and barley squash, which you just wouldn't even think about until you actually, obviously it has barley in it because it says it in the title, but why would you think a squash would have gluten in it? Once you start looking into it, it is in so many different things. And when I actually first started giving up gluten was, I must have been about 10 or 11, the gluten-free products were disgusting.
Yeah.
And actually, I just didn't eat any alternative. Like I didn't try and eat a gluten-free bread or whatever it was because they were so bad. I just rather not eat it.
They were rock solid, weren't they? And they just never seem to, fresh bread will start off fluffy and it'll get harder as it gets more stale. Whereas a gluten-free bread just seems to be consistently a rock.
Exactly. But I actually have bought some gluten-free bread and some normal bread for us to try. So what I thought was we would try some of the alternatives and see, if we really can. So you actually don't know which one's which. So
I don't know which one's which.
So have a taste of both and see.
They actually look remarkably similar as well because they've both got, Georgie's very kindly buttered these. They're both cooked as toast and they've both got seeds in them and they both look really quite good actually.
Yeah. So I'd be intrigued if you could actually tell the difference between them.
That one's quite chewy.
Okay, try the other one.
But I think the toast was made about 10 minutes ago,
was.
so that may not be the fault of the bread. Now I feel like the second one, which is slightly lighter in colour, feels lighter to taste. It's a little bit fluffier. It's actually quite hard, isn't it? I'm really impressed with both of these. It isn't immediately obvious. I think it might be the first one.
It is the first one, yeah.
Gosh, that's mad. So those two breads are really very similar, aren't they? They look similar. What are the brands there?
So the gluten-free bread is a Waitrose own brand, free from gluten-free bread, sliced mixed seed loaf. And then the gluten version was a Hovis Granary.
And they were so similar. They looked very similar, tasted very similar, really genuinely good alternative. Fantastic. And you've got some cakes here as well.
Yes, so I've got two cakes, two kind of cupcakey versions. One has got icing on, so slightly different, but...
So that's quite fluffy. The crumb on that is moist and fluffy. It's kind of what I would expect out of a sort of a little chocolate cupcakey thing.
Mm-hmm. And try this one here.
And this other one here, this one is much more like a chocolate chip muffin. So it's a little
it's more of a muffin than a cupcake.
It's slightly different. Oh, it's lovely. It's rich and moist and it's got some lovely chocolate chip chunks in there. Oh, that's a real treat.
So which one are you leaning towards?
There is something about the consistency in the muffin that is just slightly grainy, only a tiny amount. There's just something about that consistency that's making me think that one might be the gluten-free one.
That one is the gluten-free one.
It is.
Yeah. So that is from Love More.
Love More. Double chocolate muffins. Do you know, though, if I was gluten-free and I wanted a treat, that is delicious.
Yeah.
It's moist. It is relatively fluffy. You would be hard-pressed if you weren't comparing that side by side with something. You would be hardpressed, I think, to know that's gluten-free.
I totally agree, actually.
It's very good.
It is very good. And that would make, also for a birthday or whatever, bringing those out with, you could actually pipe some icing on top of those because obviously icing is gluten-free. So on top to make it even look more like a cupcake than if you were doing some gluten-free and some normal.
Yeah. I always had to take cakes to my children. My daughter was really quite allergic to milk and dairy products when she was young. And I had to take cakes or sandwiches to every single kid's party so she could sit there with her friends, but she sort of have this little plastic box in front of
her own thing. But yeah, again, I think that's the beauty of where we've got to. Because when I was growing up and I had to stop, there just wasn't anything out there that was, gluten-free. So you just kind of had to sit on the sidelines and not eat the same type of things. But now you really can go and eat this similar type of looking food.
Really good options.
Really good options. So
and is this... Sorry.
No, I was going to say, so the next one we're going to try is a very well-known chocolate biscuit.
It's a Kit Kat.
It's a Kit Kat.
Okay. They both look like Kit Kats, to be honest.
Obviously, they've got the wafer in the middle, which is what is normally contains the gluten in the normal Kit Kat. And then you've got a gluten-free alternative.
Oh, is it? Because I wondered if this was a bit of a trick round where you were going to go, actually, a wafer doesn't have any gluten at all. But I'm going to say I can tell the difference here purely. I mean, the main thing that's striking me about the Kit Kat alternative, which is, I think it's this one, isn't it? That's the gluten-free one, not the Nestle Kit Kat. But it's delicious. It's got really thick, lovely chocolate on the outside of it. I'd definitely choose this one.
Over. Yeah, it's Belgian. It's proper Belgian chocolate. It's from Bakery Delights. And I think the Kit Kat is a bit difficult because you know what a Kit Kat tastes like. You've eaten them lots. You know what. And obviously that says Kit Kat on it.
It was easy to guess.
But what I think this time round, I think we found a better product.
Yeah.
This is actually the Belgian
100%.
chocolate wafer is actually a better product than the Kit Kat is. Go Bakery Delights. That's delicious.
Looking up Bakery Delights. Is it called a Kit? And it won't be called a Kit Kat. No, Belgian chocolate wafer. Well, I really recommend that. That one's absolutely delicious.
Yeah. So the next one we're going to try is actually some oat cakes. One is a fruit oat cake and the other one is a fruit and seed oat cake.
Lovely.
And as I was saying before, you can get gluten-free oats and you can get non-gluten-free oats. These are produced by the same company, Nairns.
Nairns, fastest town in Scotland. Nairn. My husband's favourite joke.
And which one do you think is the gluten-free?
Well, it's really hard to tell, actually. They are both beautiful. There's one that's sort of the sort of thinner, more sort of finger-shaped one.
Yeah.
It feels more finely milled, which is making me think it might be the gluten-free one. But not necessarily. I mean, the other one is actually lovely as well. They've got a slight sweetness to them, a sort of fruit and seed thing going on.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to obviously find things that were very similar for you to taste between the two. But actually, it really is it's just the type of oat that has grown. So I don't think there's going to be...
Really? Well, I'll go for the first one then, but it's a pure guess.
So, yes, you did right. You did guess the first one is the gluten-free one. And they've won a Great Taste Award and also Free From... Food Award as well. But again, a product that you can have that you wouldn't even know.
Very happy alternative.
Exactly, very happy alternative. There's no difference.
Yeah, you wouldn't know at all. And I think I'm being, I think where I'm tasting these, the only reason I'm spotting the difference is purely a texture thing, and it's so subtle, and it's only because the two things are side by side.
Exactly.
Whereas actually, if I was just eating those products, I mean, the bread I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
That muffin from Lovemore, absolutely excellent. And the Nairn oat crackers, again, really excellent.
Yeah.
And if you weren't comparing them side by side, you really wouldn't know. And I don't think you could say that 5 years ago, but you can say that now.
No, I totally agree. I think gluten-free has come along so well. And actually so many restaurants have also, offer gluten-free alternatives like Pizza Express. You can get gluten-free pizza bases, and then Wagamama's also have a full gluten-free menu that you can choose from and stuff. So there's so much more out there for people who are having to go gluten-free, either because they're celiac or because they're just finding they're having an intolerance with it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So we've got some really exciting guests in the studio with us today. From ZenB, we have Jess Howe, who's the R&D manager, and Vanni Cataldi, who's the marketing director. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hi.
Great to have us in the studio here. Vanni, can you tell me a bit about ZenB?
Yes, absolutely. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to shake up a little bit the staple food industry. So we started with pasta and now we've got crackers, but there hasn't been a lot of innovation lately. So what we've made is a product that is healthy and is nutritious at the same time, but is also quite tasty. So our pasta, for example, is made with yellow peas. We use only one ingredient in our process, it's gluten-free, high in protein, high in fiber, and trying to have the same texture and taste as well of normal wheat pasta.
So you make a whole range of products that are all gluten-free,
Correct.
Yeah, amazing.
All of our products are gluten-free. Then our pasta, for example, is high in protein, fiber, and our crackers, for example, they've got sources of fiber, sources of protein as well.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, the studio is now smelling absolutely delicious. There's heaving bowls of lovely looking steaming pasta and some crackers and hummus and all sorts in here.
So why did you decide that you needed to make a gluten-free pasta?
I think there is a lot of people that, they want to go for, gluten-free product, or other people that are diagnosed of being celiac. So they didn't have anything that actually was as close as wheat pasta. Therefore, we're trying to do something that it was not only gluten-free, but also enriched with additional, fiber and protein that all come naturally from the yellow peas that we're using.
Yeah. And so why yellow peas? Because I know you can get gluten-free pasta made out of rice and red lentils and stuff. So where did the yellow pea come from?
We are using yellow peas for a different reason. So first of all, it's a very sustainable ingredient. So they use less water than all of the other legume or pulses. They actually give back to the soil nitrogen while they're growing, and therefore are very sustainable. But also what we're trying to do with the peas is actually we're trying to use as much as possible of the plants. So we're using the skin of the pod, which contains the majority of the fiber that are actually in the product. A lot of people are not using it, overlooking a little bit of the skin because it's very hard to use it in the, to make pasta, for example, because it contains a lot of fiber. So that's why we're using yellow peas.
Oh, it's really interesting. And so, Jess, your role, R&D, research and development?
Yeah, so my role involves recipe and development. So I will come up with the recipes, or I will work with the co-manufacturer to help us come up with the recipes. So initially we will get a brief, and then we'll follow that through with the co-manufacturer, and then follow it down in the food development process.
Brilliant. So literally these are your brainchildren, are they? You're kind of coming up with ideas and...
Well, with the crackers, that came through the R&D development process. But with the pasta and pasta sauces, that was developed originally by Japan. But we are working on other recipes, potentially extensions. So I'll be working on those recipes with the rest of the team.
So what's the difference between all of these crackers here?
We have rosemary and chia, so that's got more of a sort of a fragrant flavour to it, but it's got a touch of seasoning, salt, and also oil.
I think we're going to have to try this one, aren't we?
Yeah, let's dive in.
And I've also made, which I recommend, a dip, which is made out of our veggie mash, which contains lentil and carrot. So that also includes the whole vegetables, like the seed and stalks. And I've also added cumin, garlic, tahini, and that goes really well with the crackers. So that's actually a recipe which wasn't done by me, but one of our influencers, and that's also got beetroot in it as well. So
it's delicious.
It's not too strong, but it goes really well with the crackers, because obviously we want the flavour of the crackers to come out more.
So just step back a minute. Did you say veggie mash?
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about veggie mash.
So we launched this product last year. So we've got 2 different flavours, as I mentioned, carrot and lentil, and also cauliflower and green pea. There's just 2 ingredients. So as I mentioned, they contain the whole skin, and also it's a source of fibre, and it takes 5 minutes to cook. So all you need to do is add milk or a plant-based milk, and then you whisk it up, and then it's ready in 5 minutes. So it's
Is it a powder?
It's a powder.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dehydrated powder. So it's something that would go with a protein, something on the side. So it's very convenient. So if you're in a rush and want something healthy and nutritious, and you're cooking up chicken or tofu, you would have that with the veggie mash on the side.
That's really... So it's an alternative to a potato mash, I'm presuming.
Yeah, yes.
And it's quick and easy because it's dehydrated, you're not having to cook the vegetables themselves. Okay.
Exactly.
Like smash. That's
the kind of equivalent.
The equivalent of it, but it sounds like this one's actually better for you.
Yeah, this is more nutritious,
Yeah.
more flavoursome, and then you can add spices and flavours to it to jazz it up if you wish.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I might give that a go with my kids and see if they
notice.
Yeah, some cauliflower mash.
These crackers are really interesting. They're kind of square, and they've got a good snap, haven't they? As you bite into them, they're quite crisp and crunchy. And I mean, is the idea to have them with this kind of hummusy? It's not hummus at all. You've just explained that. But
so the idea, so if I just talk through the other flavours as well. So we've got onion and poppy seed, which is my favourite. I just love onions. The other one is Himalayan salt and pepper. So yeah, you would have it as a mid-morning snack or a mid-afternoon snack. So if you want something just to, as a filler between those times of the day, it's a great healthy, nutritious snack to have, because it's high in protein, high in fibre. So it helps sustain your energy instead of going for like chocolate or crisps and then you get like a sugar crash. It's a healthy snacking alternative, but is also nutritious and tasty.
And this is made out of yellow peas as well, is it?
Yeah, just 100% yellow pea, as I said, seasoning and a touch of salt and also oil. So it's also low in salt and fats, and also full of goodness.
You can taste the yellow pea kind of on the finish, can't you? You get you get the flavour of that down the side of the tongue. It's really interesting.
The great thing about our products as well, we make sure we don't add any additives or bulking agents or any preservatives. So it's really important to use 100% yellow peas, and then the rest of the ingredients, as I mentioned, are seasoning and salt. So we don't add any nasties in our product. That's something that's very important to us as a company.
Yeah, they're crisp, but what's really interesting is they actually dissolve quite well on the tongue once you start chewing. They don't, some crackers like this can be quite hard going, if you know what it's like.
Yeah.
They can be quite heavy, and these feel quite light.
But if someone gave me that, I wouldn't question that wasn't a normal cracker. Do you know what I mean? Like it tastes and feels like a gluten cracker. So I'm not sitting there thinking, gosh, this tastes really different. I'm sitting there thinking, really nice, love the flavours. Could give that out at a dinner party as a thing, and I don't think anyone would ever even question it.
So the great thing about these crackers, which I forgot to mention, is they are baked, so they're not fried. So they are a healthier snack in that sense. So a typical portion would be like 30 grams. So that contains 6 grams of protein as well. So it's great for a post-gym workout or anything
What was
that you're
that
doing throughout the day.
What was that last flavour?
Onion and poppy seed. Is that your favourite?
Yeah, I like that
that's
one.
my favourite
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was really nice.
Really good.
I really like
Very
that one.
flavoursome, that one.
Yeah.
And I think the onion really balances well with that pea flavour as well. It really
it
works
does.
nicely. That's really interesting.
They're really nice, really nice. And we've got some pasta sitting here, which I'm kind of conscious it's not going to don't want to go cold before we try it. So you've developed pasta sauces as well as pasta, as in so you can get the whole package.
Yes, all our product, including the pasta sauces, they are including, all of the ingredients are including the whole veg. So the skin as well, for example, of carrot, the seeds of the tomato and so on, because we want to try to maximize as much as possible what actually the ground and the soil, give us without any, trying to reduce the food waste as much as possible.
So the sauces, you've made those, they obviously sound like a good, healthy alternative, but have you done that because pasta sauce actually contains gluten, or just because it made sense symbiotically to do both together?
No, unless you've got some kind of contamination. Normally pasta sauces do not include any gluten, but we thought it was really good accompaniment to the pasta, and also because we're using for example, the carrot skin or the tomato skin or the seeds and so on, you add all of the enrichment of nutrients that goes very well with the Zemby concept.
Yeah, it's lovely.
As we were saying before, I've been gluten-free, I've done a lot of gluten-free periods of my life, and I've eaten a lot of gluten-free pasta, which is normally stodgy and really heavy. And this is not stodgy or heavy at all. I can't believe it. It really tastes like proper pasta.
I forgot it was gluten-free, actually. I was listening so much to you talking about the whole part of the vegetable that I...
Yeah, this is totally different gluten-free pasta.
Yeah.
I'm actually really blown away by that because I actually stopped eating gluten-free pasta because I actually found it really sat really heavily in my stomach just because it was so dense. But this actually doesn't...
This is delicious.
This is really light.
It's the texture as well, and elasticity that normally you get with wheat pasta, because you've got all of the gluten that is activated while you're making the dough and so on. But we've got a very unique technology that actually trying to mimic that texture and the elasticity as well of the pasta. And based on the feedback that we got from consumer, while the taste is a little bit more hearty, but it's very subtle, the elasticity and the texture is pretty much similar to what you would
Really
find in a
similar.
normal
Very
pasta.
good. And would you cook it for the same length of time?
Yes, 11 to
10, 11 minutes, yeah. Because it looks, I saw the packet out in the studio beforehand. It just looks like normal dried pasta, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it made from the pea protein again?
Yeah. We're only using one ingredient, so only yellow peas, what you find in the back of pack. You've got a lot of other wheat-free pasta out there that they are actually adding a little bit of, numbers or other things in order to help the process. But because of our technology, we're actually just using just yellow pea flour. That's it.
And nothing else?
Nothing else.
How do you bind it together?
We got a very, great, fantastic
secret.
R&D team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, top secret, unique technology.
You
that
don't
we've
just
developed
crack an egg
for a
in or
lot.
something then?
And where do you get your yellow peas from?
We're sourcing it mainly from North America. because they've got a very huge crop, and we're working very closely with the farmers there. So one of the biggest farmers, actually, they are the 4th generation of family ownership, and we're working really closely with them.
And what's next then on the innovative horizon, Jess?
Well, yeah, we've got a lot of exciting products coming up this year. I can't go into too much detail, but what I can say, one of them is a new pasta shape. So we have had a lot of consumers asking for this product. So it's very important for us to listen to our consumers. So we're working on that product at the moment.
New pasta shape. So we're eating a fusilli style.
Yeah.
I've seen you've got spaghetti out there. So it could be, have you got penne already?
Yes, we've got penne, we've got spaghetti.
Or maybe it's a lasagna sheet.
Or is it a bow?
It could be.
Who knows?
It could be. So, yeah. And then we've also got another product which incorporates the whole yellow peas with whole vegetables. And it's something that you'd have alongside, again, a protein. But I can't go into too much detail about that. But that's super tasty. I'm very excited about those. So there'll be 3 flavours that we're launching.
So when must we look out for that?
Later on in the year, so I'd say around August and around June time, and then another product later on sort of towards the end of the year, so it'll be a range extension. So
excellent.
What I also saw that you had is a kind of pasta on the go pot. So that's something you can take to work, and you just add boiling water or put it in the microwave or something, and it's all together with the sauce and everything. That looks great because, if you are gluten-free, we were talking about this earlier, it's so difficult when you're out and about sometimes to find stuff that's gluten-free in a rush, without actually prepping stuff yourself. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've got 6 flavours. As you said, there's something that you'd have in the afternoon as a form of lunch, and you just add hot water, and it contains our quick cook short pasta agile, and then it also contains whole vegetables. So for instance, we've got tomato and basil, which is one of my favourite flavours. They also contain nut powders, which gives the product its like creaminess, and it's very Moorish as well, but it's like a sort of protein, fibre, so it's very nutritious, and also you've got minerals from the yellow peas, so we can claim like a source of iron for the yellow peas, as well as potassium and phosphorus, so it's got a lot of goodness in one pot. And the great thing about the fact that it's got protein and fibre, it helps you sort of sustain longer throughout the day. It makes you feel quite full afterwards.
Yeah, so you're not getting energy spikes.
Yeah.
It's like you would with ordinary pasta, I suppose.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic. And where can we buy this? Where do you get Zenbee from?
So at the moment, we're selling it in our website, so zenbee.co.uk, and we're also on Amazon. But we are gradually expanding as well into normal stores as well.
Fantastic. That's really good. Georgie's just shown me you've offered 25% off the first order. Is that right?
Do, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we wanted to reward all of your listeners. So we're offering a 25% off using the code FoodRebels for anyone that wanted to try our pasta, our crackers, or any other product of our range.
Fab. So we'll make sure that we put that on our social media and things as well. So that's the code FoodRebels, all uppercase, all one word. Thank you so much. I can't believe it, but we've already come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming in, Vanny and Jess.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you both.
Thank you for having us.
It's been great. Georgie's actually just tucking into the rest of the pasta now. So check them out, zenbee.co.uk. You've been listening to Food Rebels, which is available on radio stations around the UK. You can also listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify and Audible. Please remember to follow us or subscribe and rate us as well. It makes a huge difference. We're also available on Instagram, so give us a follow. Thanks for joining us and make sure you taste the rebellion.